All right, here we go. This looks better. Let's see, our lighting's a little better, angles a little better. I'm thinking about a backdrop maybe. I don't know. Do you guys like looking at bandsaws? Maybe you do. I was actually, and it's called a shopsmith. That's a weird piece of equipment from, oh, I don't know. They still make them, I think. Doesn't matter. Maybe I'll start a woodworking channel at some point. Not really, it's just a hobby. That's a real hobby. That's a thing that I'm not very good at, but I do enjoy doing. It's nice and meditative. So here we are, 3 in a row. Yeah, how to start. So this was one, this video is on a lie that we all tell ourselves, as normal humans. And I've told myself the same thing for a long time. And I'm kind of curious if anybody else, once you think about it, if you feel the same way. So here's the idea. We all walk around the world, and I'd mentioned this in another video. We all walk around the world and we tell ourselves, if something happened, if something crazy happened, we'd be all right. We say, well, if that crazy homeless guy came up and confronted me, I'd be all right. I'd do this, and I would, maybe like throw a punch or, I'd uppercut him, I'd knock him out in one punch, and it would be fine. And we tell ourselves that we would be fine. If something happened, we're going to be fine. And I told myself this for a long time, because up until that point, I'd always been more or less fine. And this point, the point where I realized that I was lying to myself was, thank goodness, a jiu-jitsu class. I talked a little bit about my first jiu-jitsu class and sort of how I really had my eyes opened to some of the holes in my ability to defend myself. Maybe not if somebody wanted to stand or just a regular old dude, but the fact that there are these killers who run around, and not just, by the way, jiu-jitsu guys. If you're going to Muay Thai classes 4 days a week, you're going to cut somebody pretty bad. You're going to clinch and toss them on the pavement. If you're a judo guy, you're going to pitch somebody through the air and then just walk away and not care. There are these sort of guys that run around that don't necessarily act like tough guys. Most of them don't, I think. That if they ended up in a fight, they would be okay because they practice fighting. That's what they do. That's their thing. They practice fighting. But what I told myself as a normal person was that I would be okay. And it's this lie that keeps me safe. Because otherwise, and here's the alternative, either you tell yourself that you're going to be okay and you move through the world and nothing ever really happens. Very rarely do we ever get confronted or have our eyes open to this, but we tell ourselves that we're going to be just fine. Because otherwise, we don't go outside, or we walk around sort of staring at our shoes, an introvert, right? And we shake hands weakly, and I don't know, we dodge aggression and eye contact at every turn. Because either you tell yourself that you're a tough, competent, confident man, or lady, or you walk around terrified because the world's a dangerous place. It can be. It certainly can. So we lie to ourselves. We say, yeah, man, you're fine. If anything ever happened. And I've talked to guys, I talked to a guy, and this a super smart guy, a gun guy, oddly enough, which is cool. Hey, you want self-defense, you don't get much better. But he had talked about how he would sort of set up plans if he was walking by like two guys. He was like, you know how you're like, no, I'm gonna punch this guy, and then I'm gonna elbow that guy, and you'll knock them both out. And I just kind of laugh and go, oh yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, that's definitely gonna happen. Two-piece knockout, right? When really what you're going to do is you're going to make the first guy mad, and then you're going to make the second guy mad, and then they're going to stomp your head. But he was still stuck in the lie. He was telling himself the lie. Really, all he needed to do was say he was going to pull his gun and get to work or whatever. And then he would be fine. Because that's probably more true than like, oh, my jiu-jitsu, I'm going to triangle the first guy, and while the first guy is being triangled, I'm going to wrist lock, whatever, right? But he was still stuck in this lie. He would be fine. And jiu-jitsu is what opened my eyes to this idea that like, it was a lie. Like, if you're not participating in something where you're sort of physically challenging yourself and you're being confronted with your physicality versus somebody else's, if you're not working on some technique for self-defense, then we don't know. It's a dice roll, right? Maybe you are. Maybe it's just some knucklehead you're dealing with. Who knows? Who cares? It doesn't matter. The whole point being that a lot of guys come into jiu-jitsu and they have their eyes opened also to this lie that we've all told ourselves just so we can go out and grab McDonald's and, make eye contact with a couple people and not be terrified, not come home and have to, lay down and close our eyes to calm down. It is, I think, very important that we have our eyes open to this. And if you're doing jiu-jitsu right now, consider this. For how long did you tell yourself that you were going to be just fine? And then you go to a gym full of killers and you're like, oh man, maybe not. And if you're, found this channel because you're thinking about doing jiu-jitsu and you're not watching like sport jiu-jitsu or you just found it because you're looking for a more casual approach, casual jiu-jitsu, for a more casual approach to jiu-jitsu. Are you telling yourself that right now? Maybe so. I did for a long time. I am taking steps right now towards preparedness, and I'm super chill. I don't care about very much. I don't walk around. I don't have to try to act tough. That's one cool thing about MMA gyms or jiu-jitsu gyms is most of the time the guys are not tough. They are tough guys. They don't act like tough guys. They don't have to. We're challenging ourselves, the whole time we're in there. So you don't have to puff your chest out and swell up and act like you're something you're not. We all know right where we are. You sort of know where you are in the hierarchy. Whenever I first walked in to a jiu-jitsu gym, it was an MMA gym. Once again, I thought I was going to be fine. And one of the black belts in there came over and we were just talking. And he said, and I told him sort of how my eyes were open to this idea. And I said, and he said, I get it. Super nice guy. I get it. But if you had played some pickup basketball 10 years ago, you wouldn't walk onto let's just say even a college court, and think that you were going to go out there and be competitive. You wouldn't think that. That's absurd. These guys, let's say on a college court, because we ain't talking about the pros just yet, but on a college court, they train every day. They train for basketball. They train to play basketball. Why would you think that just because you had played pickup in 7th grade that you were going to come and do well out there? And that really stuck with me. I went like, yeah, what was I thinking? I thought that I was going to be competitive in this thing with these guys that come in, 5, 6, 7 days a week sometimes. They're working out to be strong. They're doing cardio, to give them a gas tank. And they're drilling and rolling and practicing and day in and day out. Why did I ever think that I was going to come in here and I was going to be competitive? Now, it's important to understand where you are. It's also important to be confident in yourself. You don't want to, once again, walk around staring at your shoes all day. But this is, part of the lie that we all tell ourselves so that we can go out in the world and get to work. It's very rare you're ever going to get in a fight. So you shouldn't be worried necessarily, but you should be aware. It's very important to be self-aware. And I think that basketball analogy this black belt gave me was was very poignant. It really meant something at the time. And I went like, yeah, dang, I'm in over my head. I've been lying to myself all these years. We got to do something to change that. And that's the important part, is that you're doing something to change that. That can be a very small component of our journey through jiu-jitsu. It can be it doesn't have to be, the only reason is because if a homeless dude attacks me, I want to be able to shut him down. That probably shouldn't be your only reason. And it's a very small part of mine. But what I did think was funny was this persistent lie that we tell ourselves as people in the world, that if something crazy happened, we would be fine. But we have no backlog of opportunity to point at. We don't have a history, most of us at least, don't have a history of wild things happening and then us beating the heck out of somebody. And if you do, dang man, calm down. What are you doing? Anyways, this was fun because I've thought about this for a long time. The lie that we tell ourselves that we'll all be just fine. It's good. It's a good one, but sort of take a step back and really look at it, and then maybe do something about it. I am, and if you're going to a gym a couple days a week, maybe you are too. So anyways, thanks for listening. Same as always, if you like hearing me talk, ramble, sub, that'd be great. I say this a lot at work, but I'll wait forever on anybody. But I don't want to wait an extra minute on nobody. So kind of the same thing here. I like talking, obviously. I like putting out videos, and I'm going to, and I plan on it. But I at least want to know that there's somebody out there listening. Thanks much. Have a good day.